episode, which is our 50th episode here. So, Dr. Gladys, how are you doing today?
I am doing well. So happy to be here and excited that this is our 50th episode and looking forward to having this conversation about this topic that, in this tech era, that's very necessary. So I'm really, really excited about that. Yes, I am doing well.
Thank you, thank you. So, as you guys know, I'm Dr. Ross, RAS, because I'm really a scientist. So, what do I know about cybersecurity? Not much. But by the end of today's episode, I should know much more. So, we have a special guest here in the cybersecurity world. We have two of them, and one of our guests, Dr. Cheryl Cooper, here is a president in the cybersecurity world, and we're going to find out what that is. While Miss Aldero is a officer, a police officer in the cybersecurity world, and we're going to find out where that what does that mean. So, welcome to our guests. I'll have you both briefly introduce yourselves. Let our audience know. Where are you from, or where you at now? What do you is your title in cybersecurity? And if you have a company, you can mention that as well as we begin to go down this educational road. Thank you.
Go ahead, Dr. Cheryl.
Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Cheryl Cooper. I am a business information security officer. I am located in the United States in Kansas City. I am a multifaceted professional. I'm a United States veteran. I'm an author, speaker, and a cybersecurity resilience strategist. I'm also president of Women in Cybersecurity, WICYS, WICYS. It is the only women in cybersecurity organization with international reach into Australia, Asia, Africa, UK, and Europe. Under this organization, I am on a mission to recruit, retain, and advance women in cybersecurity to close the race and gender gap. And hopefully we'll get into some other discussion in this, in what does the landscape look like for people of color and for women. In this, I'm also highlight the vast opportunities available to them. And I emphasize that it's not just about filling seats, it's about fostering diversity of perspective and creating an environment where diverse ideas drive progress. I have over 20 years of experience in technology with Fortune 100 companies. And of course, I am well acquainted with the biases, racism, and sexism prevalent in the majority of these run industries. As an author in my new books, Hood to Hooded, Choose to Rise, and Triumph in the Trenches, I shed a light on racial and gender bias in corporate America. My motto is we must see the girl in a world in which she is usually unseen. I am currently working on my next book for women of color in cybersecurity, expected to come out first quarter 2025. You can reach me on LinkedIn at drcherylcooper.com, or you can email me at drcherylcooper.com. Thank you for joining.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Cooper. That was exemplary.
Thank you, Dr. Raz.
Really appreciate it. You said some very important things in that introduction that you mentioned, and we're gonna dive in and out a number of those things. So thank you so much for that warm introduction to who you are and what you do. Dr. Gladys?
Okay, yes, I would like to, like Dr. Ola Bimpe, to go ahead and introduce herself. Thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you very much, Dr. Gladys, for having me. Dr. Sherry, it's a pleasure meeting you here this afternoon. I feel honored. I'm not a doctor yet. hopefully, hopefully I'll become one someday.
I'm so glad to be with you today.
It's a pleasure,
I'm
ma'am.
honored.
It's a pleasure, ma'am. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for having me. Olabimpe Adeloro is my name. I'm a cybersecurity and a data protection specialist. I focus my interest in SOC analysis. I'm an IT trainer, a founder, a co-founder. At the moment, I founded the organization Mobile Cyber Safety Nexus. As a passionate advocate for inclusive cybersecurity practices, I am dedicated to creating a cyber world that is free from gender bias. Not just free from gender bias, but that is all-encompassing, that is very, very inclusive. I'm a seasoned SOC analyst and a member of Computer Instructor Network, CIN, for those of us that are familiar with that acronym in the room. I bring expertise as a freelance IT trainer, curriculum developer, and an IT exam question expert. Through consulting, education, public speaking, and social media awareness, I strive to reduce the successes of cyber criminal globally. I lead a thriving private group of over 300 amazing men and women. Some of them I'm honored to have in the room this afternoon with us. Welcome, guys. Thank you very much for always supporting me and doing what you are doing in curbing cybercrime. I work actively towards saving or having a safe digital future. That is my mission. At the moment, my book will be rolled off the press on September 28th. I'm becoming an author, and I'm so passionate about that. My book is entitled Encrypted Hearts, and I've written this book out of the passion I have to bridge the gap between preaching cybersecurity to bridging cybersecurity and getting fun. The book is a unique romance novel that weaves cybersecurity hacks into an irresistible love story. Who doesn't like story? Most especially love stories. So that makes technical concepts, relatable to my audience. And that is the focus, because I find out that most especially for those without tech background, preaching cybersecurity could be sometimes very boring or non-interesting. So I want to bridge that gap. Hence the book, Encrypted Hearts. I hope you all will get it starting from September 28th. Thanks for having me this evening.
Thank you so much to both of my guests, or both of our guests here today. And you ladies were strategically chosen because you represent something that needs to be seen. And we're going to get into that discussion as we talk about today, cybersecurity and women in cybersecurity. So with that, I'm going to take the background and have Dr. Gladys here take the rings as we dive into the subject and our well-versed guests. Thank you.
Yes. So my first question is, can you one of you define what cybersecurity is, just in case the audience is not familiar with that term? What exactly is cybersecurity? Can you define that for us, Dr. Cooper?
Sure. This is Dr. Cooper. Sure. When we're looking at the definition, and if you buy any textbook, a textbook answer would be something like it's the art, right? It's the art of protecting networks, devices, and data from unauthorized access or criminal use to ensure for the security people who are on here, the CIA, to ensure The the CIA, the confidentiality, the integrity, and availability of information. For those who aren't in the security industry, part of OLA and my job is to ensure the CIA of the data, so that when we talk about confidentiality, only those who need to see the data or has it. Confidentiality. We want to keep the data secure. When we say integrity, that it's accurate, right? You don't want to log into your bank account one day and you have $500 and the next day is $5. We ensure the integrity of the data. Also, everyone wants the technology available. That's our job, is to ensure when you have your cell phone, you have dial tone, when you connect to the internet, you are able to access the internet. And if you access any resources that are connected to the internet, those resources are available. Most IT organizations, when we look at it from a company perspective, whether it's bookkeeping or email, that data has to be protected. And if it's sensitive data, such as social security numbers or credit card information, there are regulations that drive requirements that require companies to protect that data from unauthorized access.
Wow.
And if they don't, there can be significant fines every month until, significant fines. I've seen in some cases $50,000 a month until that risk had been mitigated. So cybersecurity is very.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Ola, Bimpe, would you like to add to that? You have anything to add to that? I think we lost Ola.
Yes, we might have had some connection issues. In the meantime, Miss Paula, would you like to, or I can, just want to acknowledge the audience and thank you guys for showing up here. That's in the audio room here in Zoom. We have Dr. Muhammad here. We have Mr. Michael Camp. We have Dr. Ayo. We have Yodit. Hello. We have Talia. We have Natalie. Hello, Shivan Kar. Naya, how are you doing? We also have in the room Simi, we have Terrence, we have Izu, Mawako, and Goodwin, China. How are you doing? And Ian, thank you guys so much for visiting the audio room today on cybersecurity. And I know that we are also, thanks to the Generational Learning Lab, we are also streaming on YouTube Live and X. So shout out to our audience there as well. Hopefully I'll get some analytics soon and so we know what that's going like. And so back to cybersecurity. I think we have our special guest back. Ms. Aldero, are you back?
Yes, I am. Sorry about that. Yeah, Dr. Cheryl stated it very clearly. Basically, that's our focus in the industry. We have those three angles that we focus on. We call it CIA triads. We have the confidentiality, the integrity, and availability. Because for us, it doesn't make sense when you have everything secured, it's intact, but it's not available when you have it, or it's available, it's been tampered with, or it's non-existent at all. We want to make sure that does not happen. So, and why will you say cybersecurity is essential? Everybody needs it. I keep telling people, there's no single person on earth that does not need us. I mean, we are suit souls. So everybody should start to hug us henceforth, right? It is essential because now our world is becoming increasingly digital. So the need for safeguarding sensitive information cannot be overemphasized. whether it is your personal information, financial information, governmental information, it is critical for us to prevent disruption. And guys, you know what? In some cases, data losses could even mean economic losses. And we don't want this to happen in our society. Hence, need for cybersecurity.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's awesome. And I can say that I work at the university and we're required to take a cybersecurity training every 6 months. And I really like that idea. And I like it not only for work-related training, but also for my personal, so that I can protect, my digital information at home, because I pretty much do everything online. I pay my bills online. I use Zelle, I use Cash App, so I'm very, connected to the digital world. So yes, let me move to the next question. Let me ask you this. What are some of the cyber threats? What are some of the threats that we should be concerned about? Go ahead.
You want me to
Ola? Sure, Ola.
Okay.
And I can do that. Okay.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I will mention some common ones. We have several cyber threats, and that's one thing interesting about our industry. There is no dull moment for us because new threats emerges every single day, guys. But these are very common ones that, because since it's a public forum, we want a situation whereby whether you are from a tech background or not, you will be able to understand what we are talking about here. So we wouldn't be going too technical, right? So the first one I will mention is malware. When you're talking about malware as a threat, you're talking about malicious softwares like viruses, like worms, like ransomware. And for those that do not know, when you talk about ransomware, ransomware attack happens when you have this malicious guy. And sorry, when I will be using guy here, but it does not matter whether a male or a female. I'm just being general here. I'm just using the general term guy. You have that, and it could also be a group of people, an organization. So when we say guy, bad guys or guy, please don't think we are talking about male gender alone. No, it could be anybody. So a situation whereby you have this malicious guy, grab hold of your device or your network, and boom, you cannot do anything. Let's say, for instance, you were working today and you just get to your office tomorrow morning and everything is locked up. The only thing you are seeing is a red triangle on your screen and you're like, oh my goodness, what's this? Then somebody has sent you a message, okay, I'm the one behind it. If you want it opened or unlocked, then you get to pay me. When you have something like that, it is called a malware. A ransomware. Then we have phishing attack. Phishing attack, is a fraudulent attempt to obtain sensitive information, either by disguising as a trustworthy entity or via any means. Somebody sent you a link. It's very common these days with links in emails. You think you are getting a lovely email, maybe from your work colleague or your supervisor or this person or that person, and you are told that, you have to click a link to do something or to respond to something or even an attachment. And in that link is an embedded code just to get sensitive information either from your network or from your computer, from your system. That is phishing. Then we have what we call in the industry social engineering. Social engineering is simple, guys. Is that, attack whereby an individual is manipulated into divulging confidential information. Somebody just call and like, you have this from this organization. We need you to do this. And because they put a measure of urgency or even they frighten you and you start to tell them what you are not supposed to tell them. That is social engineering. The last one I want to talk about that is common around us is what we call DDoS. That is denial of service attack. Denial of service attack happens I don't know if some of our audience have experienced you being on a website. You're on the website, and this website, you've been buying from the website. It's been seamless. And this day, you just get to the website and you could not just make a purchase. It is annoyingly slow, or it's not even responding at all. Well, I'm not saying that is it, but that is how DDoS attack works. So the system gets overloaded, and it becomes unavailable or annoyingly slow for users. So in a wrap, we have malware, we have phishing, we have social engineering, and we have denial of service attack. I don't know, Dr. Sherry, you want to add more to that, please?
Thank you for that, Ola, and that was a great summary of the most common cybersecurity attacks that we see. But there's about 25. But one of the ones that I do want to talk about that we're seeing an increase in attacks, and that's ransomware. There is a ransomware attack every 11 seconds, significantly. So those who don't know what ransomware is, it's a form of malicious software designed to encrypt files on a device. It renders the files and the systems that rely on them unusable, and then those malicious actors, they demand a ransom in exchange for the decryption of the file. Wow. They often target and threaten to sell or leak the data if the ransom is not paid. Some of the attacks that are more recent that we're familiar with, one of those are the Colonial Pipeline. For those who aren't familiar with the Colonial Pipeline is a gas company, and this was an attack in 2020. The attack happened when an attacker was able to exploit credentials, password, user ID on an old VPN. So what happened with this in the United States? It almost shut the entire East Coast down from getting gas. So you had consumers, although not the biggest ransomware, it hit the consumer because they were not able to put gas in their cars because we couldn't get gas to those service stations. So one of the things that we're going to talk about later today is cyber resilience. How can we withstand a ransomware attack? And if we are attacked, how can we recover quickly? And how can we maintain continuity as we're recovering from the attack? Another ransomware attack that just was this recently was a company in the United States called the National Public Data. There was an attacker, we believe this attacker was from China. It was from China or Russia, and they stole 2.9 billion personal records to include social security numbers, names, addresses from citizens of the United States, the UK, and Canada. In the United States, that's saying just about everyone's social security number has been compromised. So when we're going back to the importance of cybersecurity, when we look at this case study as the National Public Data Breach, even if the credentials were compromised, why wasn't the data encrypted? As Ola and I was saying, that's one of the security controls that we use to ensure the confidentiality of the data. Even if China or Russia was able to get the data, how were they later able to leak it unless the National Public Data Organization did not encrypt the data?
Yeah,
Also,
Can I say something, Dr. Cooper? Can you explain what data encryption is?
Data encryption is taking the data and converting it into a format that is unreadable. So you could scramble it. Data encryption is nothing new. Data encryption has been here before BC. Before BC, before Christ.
Okay, thank you.
Before Christ, when we talk about encryption, the soldiers would shave their heads, write a message on the head, and grow the hair back. And then when they got to their destination, they would shave their head to give the message to who needed to receive it. So it's hiding, taking the message, taking the data, putting it in a format to where it's unreadable.
But let me ask you this. Okay, so that is actually being done. I'm thinking based on what I'm hearing in most places. So why is it that we continue, to have like these data breaches? Is it easy to decipher, the encryption? I'm just curious because we're still having those issues, or is it just that there are companies that have not done that, or they, something is not secure, or, I know that anything could be, broken, but I'm just wondering, what is your take on that?
You know what, and Ola would probably resonate this as well. Myself, as a cybersecurity professional with over 10 years, when I see these kind of things, I'm in awe. I'm like, this is 101, guys. 101. It's in every standard to encrypt sensitive information. There are regulations, regulatory laws requiring these companies to encrypt this information. And no, it is not, the encryption is not being broken. The data is being stored unencrypted. Okay. And currently with the National Public Data Organization, they're being sued. And they're probably being sued because they did not take the necessary steps and do the due diligence in protecting that data.
Gotcha.
So that's what we want to do when we're cybersecurity professionals. When we go in front of a judge, if we're getting sued, we said we did due diligence in protecting this data. Gotcha. Apparently, National Public Data did not do the due diligence because they're getting sued.
Yeah. And one thing I want to add to what you're saying. What I was wondering is, okay, how when they breach this data, people, their personal information is compromised. How does one recover from something like that? Because if they have your social security number, they can impersonate you and everything and get credit cards and stuff like that in your name. So how does an individual recover from something like that?
Well, I always tell the consumer, my friends, individuals, we already have to, with the number of security breaches that occur, we have to already assume a social security number has already been compromised.
Hello?
And our password has already been compromised. So that's where it comes in. Consumers on their laptop is to use two-factor authentication, multi-factor authentication, because one, we already know that the password has been compromised. So we're going to use a password, but we're also going to either use a token or some form of biometrics, like a fingerprint, so that bad guy can't get into our account because he doesn't have our iris scan in our eye or our fingerprint. But another thing and here's what I would recommend anyone who believes that their social security number has been compromised, is to put a credit freeze on your account. I currently have my credit frozen, and if I want to buy anything, I'll just lift the freeze. So if anyone tries to get credit in my name, they can't get it.
Gotcha. Like they have this service called.
Sorry.
Yes.
Oh, okay. When you finish, I want to ask something about the actual attacks. Because I want to know between like personal attacks versus attacking like your bank or commercial attack, and how does a person handle that? right? If you've been personally attacked, I want to mention a situation. You get some um, communication from China a lot. Hey, we got this opportunity and this and that, and you recognize this is actually an one of these cyber attacks, right? What is the person's response, like you're asking in that situation, versus I bank with Wells Fargo for let's say, and they have been attacked, and I'm a member there. How do I respond when it's not directly me, but it could be my data that's in a system? Is there a difference in how I respond to that? I'm sorry, Dr. Glass. I wanted to see if I can get an answer to that.
That's fine. Yeah, that's great. Go ahead.
Uh, Dr. Gladys, and in response to that question, companies, when there is a data breach and it affects confidential, that sensitive information like social security numbers, credit card information, under the law requires within a certain amount of days, they have to notify the FCC and they have to notify every company and consumer of that data breach. So the company should be notifying you, and you probably at some point, all of us have received that letter in the mail saying, hey, we had a data breach and here's things that you should do. So if the company is compromised under the law, they have to notify the consumer, and they'll tell you, here's some steps that you can take. They'll tell you to put to do a credit freeze. And then usually what they'll do, they'll offer you that 1 year of credit monitoring, right?
Mm-hmm.
But
Okay, gotcha,
here's
gotcha.
what we can also do. Yeah, so here's what we can also do as consumers. It's not just the cybersecurity professional's job anymore. It's everyone's job to protect that sensitive information, and that we need to do our due diligence and be aware of what to look for in those phishing emails and not clicking on links. So that's another thing that we can do to reduce the probability of someone stealing our information.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with that. I think that we're just as responsible at this point. We have to be informed citizens, and we have to learn to protect ourselves. And I wanted to ask, when somebody mentioned the multi-factor authentication. I think that was Ola Bimpe. You can go ahead and respond to this. What exactly is multi-factor authentication? Just for those who may not know exactly what that is.
Yeah, when you're talking about multi-factor authentication, it's talking about a situation whereby you have more than just one authentication. What authentication means is, okay, for me to get access to this network, for me to get access to this device, I must do something to show that, yes, I have the right to get access. And that's what we call authentication. And many of us have been doing that. Before you get in, they'll ask you for your password. So what we are talking about multi now, when what you are doing is more than just one. Gone are the days that we are okay with just one. You just input your password and that's fine. But now we discover that threat actors are leveraging on that. Somebody gets hold of your password, then that shows everybody has access, right? So we want to make it difficult for whoever has unauthorized access to your password. So if somebody has gotten hold of your password, now to go further will be difficult because it needs to do something else. Okay, could it be that a code will be sent to you, maybe a one-time code will be sent to you? So even if that malicious actor or malicious person has access to your password and he has used your password now, he needs that code for him to go further. He needs that facial recognition for him to go further. So multi-factor authentication is just those things you do that is not, it's just not one-time thing. It's just not just one thing you are doing. You are making a for you to get authenticated
Yes.
to
Yes.
access either or a device.
Yes, and it's, and that's one thing. I noticed that some companies will give you the option to use the multi-factor. And one thing I always do is I agree to use it because, and another thing I do is when I'm paying my bills, I only use one particular laptop so that way they recognize the IP address systems to handle my bills. I have a computer just for that where I don't have a problem getting through. Thank you so much. Dr. Roz, do you have something you would like to follow up with that?
Yes, I do. And can someone please let Dr. Cooper back on stage? I wanted to know, or is it safe to assume then if you have not applied for any type of access to anything, if you randomly get a one of these one-time codes, should you assume someone is trying to access something that they shouldn't, and how should you respond?
Oh yeah, yeah. In the industry, there is what we call zero trust, and zero trust happens when you trust nobody except yourself. So when you see an activity that you do not initiate, your first impulse should be somebody is behind me, because in reality, malicious actors are behind every one of us. Not just the government, not the big banks, not the companies. Everybody is now vulnerable. So when I suddenly, out of the blues, get that code on my phone, and I know I've not initiated it, I've not asked for it, then the first thing is somebody is messing with me. And when that happens, I will always tell my students or my clients right away, do something about it. And the first thing you do is change your password. Just go ahead and change your password. That is one of the first steps to take.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Dr. Cooper, so we're just asking if you get a notification or
And Dr. Gladys, I wanted to add to Ola when she talked about the multi-factor authentication. Ola, fantastic job. But when we talk about multi-factor authentication, it's just a form to enhance security by requiring, as Ola said, the user to provide two or more pieces of evidence to verify their identity. And those can be three different things. It could be something you know, one, something you know, this could be a password or a PIN. It could be two, something you have, such as your smartphone, a security token, or a smart card. Or it could be three, something you are, biometric verification, like a fingerprint, a facial recognition, or voice recognition. And so by combining these multiple factors, it makes it significantly harder for unauthorized users to gain access.
Wow.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. Dr. Ross, go ahead.
Yes, I did. This is excellent, excellent information. And so I like that we're in real time information now about what happened. Personal devices versus work devices, please.
Dr. Rans, I didn't get your question right. Do you mind reframing
Yes,
that?
I'm sorry. My audio might have went out a little bit. So we're talking about what do we do? So if you lose a personal device or a work device in public, maybe in transport, on vacation, what have you, what are the top three things that you do once you notice that happened to maintain your active role in cybersecurity?
I would say Oh, Ola, did you want to take this question first?
Go ahead. That's fine.
One of the first things that we should do, well, one of the first things that you should have done before the phone was lost is that you should have password protected the phone, right? And anything on that phone should be encrypted. But the first thing that you want to do is try to find your Android or your iPhone, and you can do that through any laptop to locate the phone on a map or to make it ring. And I've actually done this myself, went to my laptop and said this was the place I was. And when I went there, there was my phone laying in the grass. One of the other things that you want to do is contact your mobile carrier to report the loss, and they can suspend the services to prevent any unauthorized use on the phone. You also want to report that loss to the police, especially if it wasn't lost, but you know that it was stolen, because by providing them with the phone's, I think they call it the IMEI number that identifies each device uniquely, almost like an IP address. It will prevent them from using it. So we're going to try to locate it, we're going to report it to the carrier, and we're going to report it to the police. The next thing that we want to do is jump onto a computer, and if it's not locked, lock the phone and remotely wipe it. So if anyone did get access into it, maybe the carrier shut it off, but they still have access to the phone, to your data, remote wipe it. And then another thing you want to do, if you were using that phone for anything like paying bills, you want to change your passwords. And if you have insurance on the device, you want to file a claim with your insurance, who will also ensure that that phone is locked where no one can use it. And then going forward, you probably want to measure and track for any suspicious activity on any accounts, and then report that to the organization or institution for which you see the suspicious activity.
Yeah, let me just follow up on something you said, Dr. Cooper. I want to ask you something. When it comes to the loss of the phone and everything, right? I was just wondering, are you more vulnerable to cybersecurity threats when you have the apps on your phone? You know, because I just won't put my bank app on the phone. I just don't feel comfortable with that. I was just wondering, but I will do it on my personal laptop. So are you more vulnerable when you have the app on your phone as opposed to using it on your laptop, or is it just the same?
I think for me, I think it's the same. I think it's the same. You still need to, there are still risks associated with it on the laptop or even on the phone. The reason why a lot of apps are free. Why are they free? Because in that 100-page agreement, accept this before you can download it, people don't read it because it's too long. And what you just agreed to by downloading it says we can share your information. So if you do download something, you want to ensure that it's from a reputable company. You know, from your bank, you're probably okay. But you want to ensure that those apps that are downloaded are being downloaded from a reputable organization. But here's something as well. You need to ensure that you have an antivirus, a scanning app on your phone. So any apps that are downloaded or any apps that you're using, you have that scanning going on all your apps on your phone to identify any suspicious activity or any vulnerabilities.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
So everyone should have a scanning app.
Go ahead and comment on this, please.
Sorry, I didn't get you.
Ola Bimpe?
Yes. Amazing. Yes, can you hear me? Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Yeah,
We can hear
amazing
you.
details, Dr. Sherry. Thank you very much, ma'am. What I will just quickly add to that is it's good to know some things. For those of us, because the audience is made up of different people around the world, we have some that do not have the service provider, their phone, their telephone or mobile devices use SIM. So in a situation whereby you have a SIM inserted to the phone, please, when you are locking the phone, don't forget to lock the SIM, because somebody can bring out the SIM and still get access to your data. So what we are protecting now is not just the telephone, it's not just the mobile device, but we are also protecting something external memory that is on the phone. And as soon as you get back the phone, sometimes it's not like total loss. Maybe you use find my device and you are able to get your device back. Don't assume all is well. No. There are some things you should do even when you get it back. Like take, for instance, Dr. Sherry was saying the other time, she used find my device and she could get it. The thing got dropped on a grass. But does that mean that it's absolutely safe? For us, we will say no. Even when you've not seen it with anybody. And that is where the principle of zero trust comes in. You want to assume, what if somebody quickly did something behind me before I got back the phone? So one of the things you can do to protect yourself and your data is to update your security accounts. Change your password. Update your MFA setting.
Okay.
Yeah. And if it is phone that you could not retrieve, Dr. Cherry mentioned it, but I don't know if everybody in the room will get it. She talks about remote wiping. Remote wiping is that process you have that you can remotely wipe off the data on your phone. Data is live. And we are not concerned just about the device. We are concerned about the device and the data on the device. So if you have a loss, we don't want to lose everything immediately. One of the first things you do is, okay, I can't get this phone back. Then you go through that process of remotely wiping off. And when we say wiping, we mean you are cleaning off the data on that device so that somebody will not have unauthorized access to the data on the device.
Thank you.
Well, how do you do that? How do you do that? How do you do remote wiping? Hello?
Maybe
Oh,
I
sorry.
think there she goes.
Sorry, I was talking with my phone log. Yeah, well, for those using iPhone, they can use that process of find my iPhone. So when you go to the setting, you can do it from your setting. When you do find my iPhone, for Android users is find my device. And if an individual cannot do it by themselves, then it's good to contact a professional. That this, please help me. And for those that are using SIM cards, it's good to let their service provider know immediately, most especially if they did not lock the SIM card in advance, because this is a loss now and they don't have the access. So immediately they want to tell their service provider so that they can block the SIM card.
I have a question. And I would like us to switch in the last half an hour over. You didn't start out, Dr. Cooper, as a president of cybersecurity, and Ola, you didn't start out as an officer of the cyber police officer. So we want to talk about education and how you get into this. But before we get there, I want to know, what if now this phone or device is a work device, and what should you know? And is there a department that deals with that in cybersecurity? And what should you know if you have a work device? What should you know about cybersecurity? And take it upon yourself to know in that case.
Yeah, if it's a work device, it's the responsibility of the user to be responsible. Because when you talk about work device now, you have with you an extension of your work. The data of the organization is now in your custody. So in case there is anything that goes wrong with your work device, maybe it's a ransomware attack, it's a phishing attack, it's a total loss, the first thing you should do is to make a report. You make a report of it directly to the Department of Cybersecurity. We have, and every organization differs. We have some organizations that have incident response and recovery departments in their cybersecurity section. So when you work with an organization, it's part of the training, it's part of the responsibility of the organization to tell you what happens in case this happens. So you know before the incident happens, oh, this is your to-go person as soon as it happens. And that is very important because sometimes we want to, cover our track, so to speak. And we have these laws, we have this breach, we have this problem, and it's either we are too shy to make a report or we are scared because we get punished. But please, guys, know that it will only further harm when you keep quiet. Because at that point, there is nothing you can do about it by yourself. It's not your responsibility if you are not a cybersecurity professional. So please, let those that have been trained to handle it. Just call your first responder and make a report of it. Tell them exactly what happened and how it happens. Some organizations have remote wiping system, and you might not know. So even though you cannot remotely wipe the data, they might be able to wipe it remotely. But when you don't make a report of it, then you leave the company vulnerable. So what has happened has happened. Take responsibility and please do the needful.
Thank you, Dr. Cooper. Would you like to say something?
I think I'd just like to expand on what Ola said when you were talking. The question was, well, what do we do with these devices that are company owned? It could be a company owned device, or it could be a BYOD, a bring your own device. So you're using your personal device for work. But when you're doing that, it's a process that the company would use. And most of these companies will use a mobile device management solution. Is a security solution that helps the organization to manage and secure that employee's device, whether it's a smartphone, a tablet, or a laptop. And some of the device security that the IT administrators with the company will ensure is that data stored on that device is encrypted, protecting it from unauthorized access. Also, most companies, the IT administrator will have the capability to do that remote wipe so that the employee won't have to do it. So that would be our first step. If we lost a company-owned device or a device that has company information on it, the first thing that we want, remote wipe the device. Also, with those devices, the company ensures that certain policies are enforced, certain security policies and compliance requirements across all devices are compliant with company policies. They also ensure and address all the access controls to reduce the risk of someone unauthorized accessing that company information on the device. In addition to that, companies will do real-time monitoring of their own device. But here's where it gets a little sticky, and I'm not an attorney, is you using your personal device for work. So what happens? You lose the device and you've got personal information on there and you've got company and it needs to be remote wiped. Can they just erase the company information, or do they erase everything? The other thing, the MFA, they'll ensure that MFA, role-based access. So those are the benefits of using this MDM, this mobile device management security solution, is that it protects sensitive corporate data by securing the device and enforcing the security. It enforces it. It's not an option.
This is so informative. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Sorry,
Thank you for that.
do
Thank
you
you.
mind if
Dr.
I
Ross?
chip in something quickly?
Nope, go ahead, Ola.
No, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. You know, Dr. Sherry mentioned something that struck me, and it's good for us to take notice of that. Yes, these days, for economic reasons, some company will tell you you do BYOD, that's bring your own device. And please, guys, I will tell my clients, when you're bringing your own device, please partition it. Don't muddle up everything. Have a section on the device for the company, have one for yourself. Don't mix things together so that when there will be remote wiping, what will be wiped will be the company's content, the company's data, if you don't want your own wiped. And that is why we also encourage us to always do backup. We cannot overemphasize backup. And that's one of the things that happens when there is even a ransomware attack. When you back up the data, then in case of loss, you will not be scared of remote wiping. Because why some of us don't want to do that wiping is because we don't have a backup. And those are, this is something we just want to keep it there, whether or not it's in a wrong hand. So, but ahead of time, when we do a backup, then it makes life easy.
You brought up an excellent point. Yes, we should always be backing up our data, whether it's a company device or our personal device. So when we talk about cyber resilience, how do I back up? How do I recover and cyber resilience? How do I maintain continuity? How do I maintain business while I'm addressing this security issue? And the way we're going to do that is like what you said. We're going to make sure that that data is backed up. And that's one of the things that we want to do, especially when there's a ransomware attack, right? Because they stole that data, they encrypted it, but we want to have a backup. But another thing I wanted to add about the BYOD, one of the risks with that is data loss. You know, we keep saying data. Why? Because data is the crown jewel. Regardless of the system that we're talking about, we always ask, what's the data? What's the data? What is the classification of the data? Because the data is the crown jewel. But with these BYODs, a lot of times what we see is employees mixing one of the risks, their personal and the company's information. And so it makes it hard.
You know, I would like to say that. Go ahead. Go ahead, Dr. Cooper.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought someone else was someone else.
You had finished. Go ahead.
Was speaking. But another risk that we have with these mobile devices, not just with our company devices, but our personal devices is that many people don't understand the risk associated with unsecure Wi-Fi access. Unsecure, we're talking about your data being transmitted over the wires, unencrypted, unencrypted, just clear text. Anybody could tap into the line and see it. And most places that have unsecure Wi-Fi are McDonald's, Starbucks, airports, all unsecure Wi-Fi access. And so when you do that, then you're exposing that company data.
Dr. Cooper, would that include
And so you say, well, what's the countermeasure to that? How do we address that? That's where it comes back into the security awareness training. We have to train our employees and educate them on things that they should do and not do and what they should look out for.
So, Dr. Cooper, I have a question on what you just said, and we're going to transition right into education right after this. But from the list that you just mentioned, would that include hotels, like when you go on vacation and things like that, and then you sign into the hotel's Wi-Fi and things like that when you travel? Would that include that unsecure space as well?
When you sign into the hotel, and if you make a payment, that is secure. That is secure. But if you're at the hotel and you're downstairs in the lobby and you jump on their Wi-Fi, it is unsecure.
And may I say something quickly?
So how do you get around that? Let me say something. Ola, I'm gonna give it to you just one moment. So how do you know when you walk into a place that you're on secure or unsecure Wi-Fi? You ensure that you have a VPN on your phone. A virtual private network that will create a tunnel for all. A virtual private network creates a tunnel between your phone and who you're communicating with, and it encapsulates the data and encrypts it. And they have VPNs for smartphones, as well as laptops.
Oh, Ola, you wanted to add to that, please?
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Apologies, Dr. Cheryl. I thought you were done. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you, ma'am. Sorry about that. What I wanted to say is good for us. I mean, we shouldn't forget zero trust, guys. When it's a public Wi-Fi, there is that danger. You see, at times the problem is not with this Wi-Fi in themselves. But what happens? Let me use a layman term here because of others in the room. What happens when somebody else is sitting there mimicking the Wi-Fi of the hotel or the airports or the coffee shop, the tea shop that you are? Yes, the Wi-Fi, I mean, for these places, they are very good, they are okay, they are not after us, they are just doing their own thing, right? But somebody, a malicious person, might have gone behind them, unknown to them. And tell me, if the owner does not know, is he a visitor that will know? So, and that is why what Dr. Cherry says is the safest thing. When you are on a public Wi-Fi, be it hotel, be it, some government places, banks, airports, wherever you are, we consider those places as public Wi-Fis. And when you are using any of those Wi-Fis, guys, it's good to use your VPN so that it can kind of, envelope your traffic, envelope what you are doing. And I will recommend to people when because now these malicious actors are way ahead of us. You don't know their next tactic. You don't know what is happening next. So I will say, when you are on networks like that, please don't do financial transactions. When you are not sure of it, don't do financial transactions. It is better to be safe than to be sorry.
Powerful,
And Ola,
powerful
I
stuff.
want to add to that. I wanted to add to that, guys, and this is important for individual users and consumers. Let's say that you've got to make that payment right then. There are some things that you can look at when you log on to a website. You'll see HTTP, right? So to determine if that website is secure, you're going to look for some indicators in your browser. You'll either see a padlock icon in the address bar that indicates that that connection is secure and authenticated. And then when you click on the padlock, it will provide you details about the certificate being used, including the issuing authority and the validity of that period for the encryption. So look for the padlock. And the other thing that you're going to look for is HTTPS. The S at the end indicates to you it's secure. HTTPS:// that presence at the beginning of the URL signifies that the website is using encryption to transmit the data between the browser and the server.
Amazing,
Thank you.
powerful information. Thank you, experts, so much. And on that, I would like to switch over and know, first of all, can you quickly say what you spoke about some security management services? Can you tell me some of the products and services and also mention your companies as well in this cybersecurity space? But then let's talk about the journey to becoming a CSA, and I would like to talk about red team and blue team and then talk to the audience about what these words mean.
Red team, blue team, yellow team, purple team, team. Yes, guys, in cybersecurity, we are color people. We are not men of color, but we are color people. We all belong to different teams, and our teams are identified by color. Basically, we have about 7 teams in cybersecurity. And these teams, under each of the teams, you have hundreds of roles in it. And so cybersecurity is a very vast, industry, very vast. And that's why we keep encouraging people to join us. The work is overwhelming. We need more people to join us. Now, the common ones are red. And when somebody tells you, I'm a red teamer, it's only telling you that I'm a penetration tester, basically. So these are those ones that goes into the network. They are authorized to go into a network as if they were malicious. Don't get me wrong, please. They are not malicious, and they get authorization. But they go into the network to see what vulnerabilities we have in the network. That is their job. You call them offensive team. Then we have the defenders, the blue team. So what the blue teamers do is they sit in the network, right? And watch out for issues that may arise, things they want to prevent. So they are already in the network. So a team is looking at it from inside the network, while the other team is looking from outside. And both are equally important, guys, because whatever happens, whether somebody is staying inside your network, it can, I mean, that person can harm you. If the person is outside your network, he can harm you. So what we want to do is we want to fortify ourselves and make sure that we get ready. So if there are loopholes discovered, before those loopholes are taken advantage of, then we, fix the messes. We match, we patch the messes, right? Then we have the purple team. It's another popular one in the industry. The purple team is the combination of the offensive and the defensive. So they come together, is the same team will be looking at the network from outside, the same team is looking at it from inside. Then we have the white team. The white teams are like big bosses. What they do is to be in control of these teams and get things done. They are like the decision makers, because the cybersecurity industry is like the military, right? Everybody gets roles. You don't just go ahead and do things when you are not authorized to do it. So, but we have some that are decision makers. They will tell you, oh, this is what should happen. This should happen, when this should happen, how it should happen. And most of the time we have them on the white teams. Then we have the product designers and, on and on like that. You have the orange team. So, but these four are the most popular that we have in the industry and what they do.
Excellent. Excellent. Dr. Cooper?
Ola, great job summing up the red team and the blue team. Three of the most common ones I hear used most often is red, blue, and purple. And you're absolutely right. The red team are the attackers and the blue team is the defenders. I've only had once that I really needed to know this. I was interviewing for a position and the interviewer said, do you do more red team or blue team? If you didn't know the definition, you wouldn't know how to respond. So as cybersecurity people, we do need to understand the difference in those two concepts. Either you're an attacker or you're a defender.
So how do you head down this road now in education? I know cybersecurity is in the IT space. As far as certification, schooling, how does this thing go now? How do you start? And what is the path like?
To start, well, anybody can be in cybersecurity. That's the good thing. As you know, I don't have a cybersecurity background. I started my tech journey in 2000, the year 2000. But prior to that, I was in accounting. My first degree was in accounting. So, but here I am today. So, which shows anybody can come into the industry. So we come through various means. Your education, it could be education background, and when we are talking about education background, it could be through degree. So these days we have universities offering cybersecurity as a course. So for those that are starting or changing career, if you choose to, you can go to a university and get a degree in cybersecurity, and that will be fine. If you don't want to, you can get certifications. We have certification bodies that will train you, and it will be as good as being in a university. In fact, for some of us in the industry, we prefer that because these certifications are more focused. When you go to the university, like I remember during my university day, you took some of these courses that you don't really need exactly for your main career, right? So, but the certifications are different. So the certification take you straight. You just start, you learn, and you do your exam, and that is it. And on certification, guys, most especially for those transitioning in this room, I would want to say something. Some of us make the mistake, we mix up certificates and certifications. They are not the same thing. when you have certificates, you've done a course. Maybe you go on Coursera or Udemy or edX or anywhere, you have the course and they give you certificates. Guys, that does not make you an industry professional in, in quotes. You know the job, but you are not certified. Whatever certificate you are getting from there is only a certificate of completion. So it might not be so right coming out and say, oh, I'm a certified. You are not yet certified. A certification body will certify you for you to claim that, yes, you are certified in it. And for us, we have many of these certification bodies. We have Cisco's, we have CompTIA, we have a whole lot of them, and they offer different courses, different certifications rather. You have CompTIA Security Plus, you have CISSP, you have CEH, you have CYSA. I mean, there are just very many. All you need to do is, okay, at this stage of my life, this is what I want to do. I want to attack. I want to be an attacker. I want to be on the offensive, team and be penetrating into networks. Then you have to check what is the roadmap, what is your route that you should take, what are the certifications that will qualify you to be an expert as a red teamer. The same thing goes to other teams, so that we don't jump from certification to certification, and at the end of the day, you wonder, okay, who am I? And we get confused about who we are. Then we can acquire skills. And I will tell people, for us in the industry, skills is very important. Your tech skills, your soft skills, they are both alike important. We communicate a lot in the industry. You must talk, you must speak, you must communicate, you must converse. So you need that communication skill. Even when you are transitioning, you might be bringing the communication skill from your previous industry. Please don't drop it. We need it. Come with it. Human relationship and things like that. So whether it is tech skill or soft, we need. Then there is need for continuous learning. If you want to join us in cybersecurity, please, this industry is not for lazy people. I'm sorry, I don't mean to be brash, but I like saying it straight. This industry, and when I say for lazy people, laziness does not mean, oh, I don't work. No. Some of us don't just like doing some things. So if reading, if studying is not your thing, then you may not excel in this industry, because things change every day. Things change every day, and you must, you must know these things. It's an ever-evolving field. So ongoing training and staying up to date with latest threats and how to defend these threats are very, very essential. I will tell my students, the moment you sign up for cybersecurity, just assume that your learning is from cradle to grave. Until you step out of the industry, you don't stop learning. Thank you.
Powerful, powerful. Dr. Gladys, please.
I have a question. I'm sorry. I have a question when you're done, Dr. Gladys. May I, when you're completed? Thank you.
If you will, like something that was in era in which I don't think there's many things that you can go in that you don't have to continue learning, because all rapidly than ever. That's across the board.
It's only me, or we can't hear Dr. Gladys
Paula?
very well.
No, I couldn't hear either. It was broken, very broken up.
Can you try that?
again, Dr. Gladys? If not, Miss Paula, you can go while Dr. Gladys's audio gets fixed.
Can you hear me now?
It's a little bit better. And will you just, yeah, we can hear you a little bit better. But can you allow me to tell Natalie, she wants to come and ask a question. She can lift her hand up and we can bring her up.
Okay.
We still cannot hear you. So Miss Natalie is on, so I'll wait till Natalie is finished and then I'll ask my question. Thank
you. Hello, everybody. Thank you for holding this space. I appreciate you all and your valuable information that you're sharing with everybody here. I was just wondering, as somebody that's going deaf and blind, I'm getting more curious about ways that I can protect myself, bearing that in mind. Because obviously, as a deaf and blind person, you can accidentally press on things or accidentally select things. So I was just wondering what advancements that you might be aware of currently that might be able to assist me, because I'm trained, I am trained in tech to a fair degree, but not to the level you are. So yeah, that was my question, please. Thank you.
Dr. Cooper, could you answer the question, or do you have any suggestions for Ms. Thomas? Thank you.
I've got a little bit of knowledge in there that in that area, some strategies that you can use to ensure your safety and your privacy. There are some accessible tools and technologies that are available, like screen readers and Braille displays, if you were not aware of that, like JAWS, G-A-W-S. There's also the voiceover to navigate websites and applications as well. And with that Braille, it can provide feedback for interfacing with digital content. And most of your big carriers, like the T-Mobiles, the AT&T, and Verizon, they also have tools and technologies to help the deaf and blind. They actually have a call center specifically for the deaf and blind. And then you would also want to use those secure messaging apps that offer that end-to-end encryption, such as WhatsApp. Most of us have heard of that. And then there's also, with your ISP, they have tools that you can use to provide assistance with many of the technologies. And you're going to do some of the same things that you would do if you were not blind, such as using the two-factor authentication. And I think the things that we talked here, they still apply. Doing your regular software updates, being phishing aware, and securing your browser. But there's also an organization, and you're probably aware of it, the American Association of the Deaf and Blind, that has additional resources and support for navigating online safety.
Oh, thank you. I have noticed one exploit though, that none of the tech so far that I've tested has been able to cover, and that's emails, the spam in emails and text messages. The AI is not smart enough to recognize it. So when my eyes and my ears are being particularly bad, it's an exploitable avenue. So yeah.
Okay, so Natalie, do you have a spam filter? It's not going to catch everything, but it'll catch a lot of it. I've worked for a Fortune 100 telecom company, and we could reduce the spam, but we could never get ahead of it. And probably with AI, it's even going to get worse trying to filter and block the spam. So if you as a consumer can't block all the spam, I mean, if a big company like AT&T can't block the spam, it's a losing battle for the consumer.
In that
So when we see that stuff, Yeah, you just got to delete it.
In that space, Natalie, you can try something that I know works pretty good. Zapier is a way of not only handling the messages you want in emails and being able to even scrape data from the emails themselves, but it's very good at identifying spam emails across a number of sectors. So that's a good one to try, Zapier.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I'll get off stage now. So you've got a connection. Thanks so much.
We have
If
another
I could
guest.
quickly also add, if I can add something quickly to her, or hear me, I will say, please don't do anything you are not sure of. The best protection is not even doing it in the first place. So you might need for support. So if you know, oh, this you are not sure of and it's not coming clear, maybe your audio description, your voice commands, these are not working efficient because they might not be as efficient as you would expect. Your optical character recognitions, your use, and some things are still not right. I will say, please and please take action until a trusted person comes around to support.
Thank you.
And I will underline it person because it's not everybody that can support.
Ola, also to add to that, and this is for
That would be
Natalie
my
as
contribution.
well. So to add to that, and this is to add to that, Natalie, go into your privacy settings and assess on that dashboard what apps can access your data, like your camera, your microphone, but it'll tell you everything that's being accessed on that phone. And so that's going to reduce your risk by reducing what apps that are accessible. You just go to your settings, your apps and notifications, and it'll say permissions, and you can disable those applications that you do not want anything to have access to it. Right? The more doors that are open, the greater the risk. And if we can lock down some of those apps, then we can reduce the risk. And then another thing you can do when you go into your personal settings for privacy, for those ads, you get those ads on your smartphone, toggle that off and opt out of the ads.
Thank you so much, Dr. Cooper. We're at the top of the hour now. Well, our hour and a half is up, and I'm not sure if we're going to extend it or not. But I would like to give Izu a chance to make his statement here. This has been such an informative show. There's never enough time. So I'm going to ask for a little bit more time of you ladies, time, please, as well as the audience. Just stick around for a little bit. Izu, how are you doing today? The mic is yours.
Yeah, I'm better than yesterday, and I feel so glad being here. I've been listening into Dr. Cooper and the guests, and I mean, all of you here have been so amazing with this great talk on security, cyber security. It's very important that we are addressing most of these things in this room today. But I, first of all, would like to commend you, Dr. Cooper. You've really shared really good, intelligent ideas here concerning cybersecurity, and I can't wait. Should I let the cat out of the box? Should I tell them, Dr. Cooper?
I saw you on the call. Like,
Okay.
oh my God.
Yeah.
Sue is sitting in the audience. I'm so nervous.
Yeah, but I was almost tempted to let it cut out of the bag, but I'm gonna keep that between the both of us because everyone here, please look out for Dr. Cooper because she's gonna be unleashing something and come time to be on cybersecurity talk.
I'm gonna ask you, please, we've worked hard to make this day, especially for these two guests here. I'm gonna beg you to please make that a THT exclusive.
Please, what we need to hear this. What's going on, Dr. Cooper?
Okay, I'm gonna let
I'm
her
gonna
talk to you
no,
out.
I'm gonna let you Zeus.
You got the floor, sir.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, this has really been very informative, and I truly commend Dr. Cooper for her intelligence in this field. In fact, she's going to be unleashing a talk very soon, and it's going to be an embodiment. It's going to be an embodiment of every single idea that she's been bringing right here today. And yeah, we all should check her out very soon. We're getting a talk very out, and it's just centered around some intelligent factors and intelligent stories around cybersecurity. And it's been a long time, but I'm sure that it's going to be a great deal of blessing to a good number of you. But I have a question here, and I'm going to direct this question to Dr. Cooper. My question is, for someone who wants to, and I'm really sorry, guys, if I've taken more than enough of time here. I'm really sorry, please. I'm just buying into this little more time to ask my question here. I would like to know, for someone who wants to clear her identity on Google, if you type on Google, you find a lot of irrelevant information about you on Google, something that doesn't make any sense at all about you. How can those irrelevant information be taken out from Google? Because this lady has been battling with this for many, many months. She wants a certain organization to hire her, but they keep going back on Google to do some research on her. And every single thing they keep getting about her on Google doesn't resonate with what this lady say about who she is. So I'd just like to know quickly, if Dr. Cooper, if you have enough time, or any other person here, if you'd like to just answer this question, I will be more than excited. And once again, I truly appreciate the organizers and every single speaker here for being amazing. My name is Izo Samuel. I yield the mic.
Thank you, sir. It was a pleasure, Dr. Gladys.
Thank you for that question, Izu. I can email you a list of things that you can do to manage your information online. But quickly, for Google, an individual needs to navigate to the personal information, and then they'll choose. It actually says what others see, and go to about me. And then they can adjust the visibility settings for their personal information, such as their birthday and phone number and email and anything else. They can also manage their data and privacy, go under the history settings, and you can manage your app activity and also pause activities. She can as well go in and under those data and privacy settings is delete the activity or remove specific data, or even set up an auto delete of certain activity that is being seen. Another thing that she can do going forward is to use a VPN to mask the IP address and encrypt that internet connection. You see, if the internet connection is encrypted, no one can read it. So that would add on an additional layer of privacy.
Wow, this is like I'm in a cybersecurity class. I definitely will like the THT, the Happiness Tribe here. We really appreciate our guest today, and we will definitely work out an opportunity that our guests and audience, we will let them know what products and services do you ladies offer in the cybersecurity space as we wrap up for the day?
This is Dr. Cooper. I'm president of Women in Cybersecurity for the Missouri and Kansas affiliate. For those who weren't on the call when we got started, WICYS, W-I-C-Y-S, is the only international Women in Cybersecurity organization with international reach into Australia, Africa, UK, and Europe. What we offer once you become a member is a host of free training if you're looking to pursue a career in cybersecurity. We also offer formal mentoring, and annually we do a Women in Cybersecurity conference, and people come in from around the world. Also, if you go to our website, we are offering free training. The Google Cybersecurity Certificate training is free. If you take this, you just go through the content, you get a voucher, a CompTIA voucher for the Security Plus exam. The Security Plus exam is $404. With this voucher, you'll pay $268. That's a significant discount to take that exam. But also, you can take the Google Cybersecurity Certificate Program for free because we received 500 of those certificates from Google. And we also, follow me on LinkedIn, Cyber Chats by WeSys Kansas City. And in there, we're always posting information, tips on how to pass the exam. We also take events that happen around the country, and we use them as business cases to assess where did the company fail.
Thank you so much, Dr.
So please be sure to follow us on LinkedIn, WeSys, WICYS, Kansas City.
Thank you so much, Dr. Cooper. And let me just say, Dr. Cooper is a brilliant colleague of mine that I asked to be here today because of what she represents. And, you know, I was working on a reentry program for reincarceration, and I brought Dr. Cooper in, and she is phenomenal. And I just know the world needs to see what she has going available. So we will be providing her information, and hopefully she can do something more with us at the Happiness Tribe in the future. So thank you for your time as always. There's a lot of work to do, and you're out.
I just want to interject one more thing. When we look at the cybersecurity industry, we are resistant. We should be resistant to layoffs. There are 3.5 million unfilled cybersecurity jobs globally. 500,000 of those are unfilled in the United States. When we look at this field, the woman is underrepresented. She makes up about 24% of the cybersecurity profession, but even more dire and ugly is that the minority woman is underrepresented. She is under 10%. When we look at African Americans, Blacks, Hispanics, Latinos, Native Alaskans, all under 10%. So there's a lot of opportunity for the woman, and there's even more opportunity for the woman of color.
Thank you for that. And with what she just said, Dr. Cooper just said, you guys stay in tune for a follow-up workshop that we will be having to extend this conversation. And Dr. Cooper, we'd love to have you back as we move forward in this space. Ola, you're up. Cyber Police Officer of the Year. How we doing?
I'm good. I'm not doing badly. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, guys, for having me. It's always a pleasure to be with you, Dr. Raz. You and I have known, a couple of months now. And thank you very much. I love your interest in cybersecurity. I love your plans for the future, for your community, and, for humanity at large. I'm a very strong advocate of cybersecurity hacks. And for those that know me, they know that that is what I stand for. I help men and women that want to either upskill in cybersecurity or they are transitioning into cybersecurity. Yes, I have my own space. I have my private community of men and women, amazing cybersecurity enthusiasts that we do things together in this industry, just to make sure that we get to a very large extent a cyber safe world. And I have, you can check me up on my website. My website is mobilecybersafety.com. That is mobacebersafety.com. And if you want to follow me on LinkedIn, that's okay. I dish out. Am I getting feedback? Okay, I dish out informative content almost every day on LinkedIn. I'm passionate about letting people know what to avoid, what not to do, what to do for them to stay safe in the cyber there in the cloud. Why there in the cloud, or even on-prem, because our safety is not just in the cloud. When you are not safe on-prem, you might not be safe in the cloud. And I'm very strong on that. So if you want to follow me on LinkedIn, that's me there, very small me. I'm there, Olabimpe Adeloro, and on across my social media. If you get to my website, you have my other social media platforms that you can connect with me on. And one thing I am passionate about, that I've been talking about since the beginning of September, is my baby. Yes, I just gave birth to a baby, an intellectual baby, and the baby will be meeting the world come September 28th. So if you love storytelling, I love storytelling. I tell stories even when I'm in class, and that's why I connect readily with my students. I mean, I'm not this stereotype teacher, right? I'm proud of myself. So I explain technical things in story form so that you can resonate with it. And for this book, Encrypted Hearts, it's talking about what happens in our life, but now in a romance novel. So it's going to be beautiful. I can assure you, I've gotten a lot of favorable feedback because I had reviews. I gave the book out to about 10 reviewers, top leaders in cybersecurity and those connected with cybersecurity, not in the cybersecurity, but also top professionals to see from angle. Okay, from the angle of cybersecurity, can you resonate with it? How does it feel? And if you're not having tech background, how does it feel? And guys, it's been amazing. In days and weeks to come, I'll be pushing out some of these testimonials from the review. Amazing book, amazing book. It may move you to shares, but it will teach you something you should do or you should stop doing as far as cybersecurity is concerned. Once again, my name remains Olabimpe Adeloro, the one and only cyber police here that we know. Thank you guys for having me, and Dr. Raz, Dr. Gladys, Majuri, sorry if I don't pronounce your name correctly, Celici. Thank you very much, guys. I appreciate what you guys are doing because there is nothing like sensitizing our audience. When people don't know the right thing, they will keep doing the wrong thing. And that is why we are here. It's not about the money. Yes, it pays the bill. And I tell you, I'm proud to say that cybersecurity pays the bill, but it goes beyond paying the bill, right? You see, when you are able to help somebody to avoid a problem, then you get fulfillment, and that's where I get my fulfillment from. I don't want people to keep making mistakes. I learn from others' mistakes and all. Thank you guys for having me. It's been a pleasure. Good evening.
Hola. Thank you. Wow.
Hola.
Mic drop. Thank
Thank
you
you
so
so
much.
much.
And let me just
Thank you. It's
let
a
me say as
pleasure.
well that yes, she's a very brilliant and motivating person. And I don't know if you guys know if she made it clear. If you go follow her, you can actually follow some of this story right now in real time. She's an amazing creative writer, and she makes learning cybersecurity and just learning technology digestible and fun. And so we'd love to have her back in
the THT tribe and work with the children and expose her cybersecurity books and technology and just aspirations for the future with our children at the THT. So thank my guests, thank the hosts, moderators, Dr. Gladys. We have a new someone from the audience, Faith, here. We'll have her speak, and then we're gonna wrap it up. But to be honest, guys, if you want to hang out till noon, I'm here for it. Faith, how you doing? The mic is yours.
Oh, hi. Thank you. I'm sure they always say Blessed Celestia when they see you, but you're used to it because obviously when the priest prays, he always says faith somewhere, and I'm like, no, he's not talking about me. Hi everyone. Thank you, Gladys. Thank you, Miss Kim. Thank you, Dr. Cheryl Cooper. Is it Cooper? I don't see the ending. Sorry if I got it wrong.
Yeah.
Um,
Yes.
yes, thank you, thank you. You look amazing. All of you look amazing, by the way. And I just want to quickly jump in. I'm so sorry. You might have thought, actually, I've not seen her face that long in this talk, but as soon as the talk came, I saw it. But my friends, because they're having anniversaries here and there, I could not get into the LinkedIn live on time. But from the first ever time I even saw the cap, I even saw your smile, Mrs. Olabimpe. I just knew that you are on top of your profession, and not only that is you would know from how someone carries themselves, and having seen you in another LinkedIn live, you didn't even speak, but the words that the host had said about you, there was one with great admiration and a great respect. It was kind of like they were talking about where in America you have all these well they're in the army, yes, and the Navy SEALs. Literally, you're the cybersecurity officer version of a Navy SEAL, and for that reason, I'll keep it short and just say I salute you, Mrs. Olabimpe. Thank you so much for allowing me to come up and talk. Thank you.
Oh, I feel like hugging you like right away. Thank you, thank you. Please, guys, she deserves her flowers. Can we just give this woman her flowers? Please, if we are not yet connected, I would love to connect with you. I think we should have a coffee chat, right? If you don't mind. Thank you very much. Thanks for your kind words. Thank you. You guys keep me going. When I get encouragement, it's just to tell me, Bimpe, you need to keep going. You need to do better. People are watching. People are learning. People are gaining. And that is it. I will tell people I live my life for two reasons. One, for my creator. Two, for humanity. And that's it. And that's where I get my fulfillment from. Thank you very much, ma'am, for your kind words. I appreciate you.
What a show. So we have 10 minutes left. So with that being said, again, thanks my guests. I'm gonna hang around for the next 10 minutes with Miss Dr. Gladys. How was the show today? I'm pretty sure you learned a lot.
Oh, absolutely. I learned a lot. And, and there's one thing I don't know what's going on with LinkedIn. There's some glitches there, but, however, I wanted to say, there's something based on what Ola was saying, how, you can't be lazy in that field. And what I wanted to say was that, in today's era, you can't really be lazy in any field because things are constantly evolving, not just in cybersecurity, but in many fields. So, this is to be lazy, period. So that's something, I wanted to say. And I just want to say, I learned.
Yeah, LinkedIn has been really freaky today. Dr. Gladys, you're cutting out there. Selassie, how's your mic doing? Miss Paula, do you guys and Miss Kim want to give your comment while we get our mics back right?
I'm not sure, Miss Paula, you ready? I can see Miss Paula. I think she's been kicked out. Selassie, let me steal the mic in the meantime as Dr. Gladys is sorted out. This has been quite a show, quite a show. I had to try so much and restrain myself with countless of questions that I still have for Dr. Cooper and Ola. You're doing an amazing job, and we truly need to organize a workshop. I will still DM you my questions in the interest of time. I'll just mention my big concern as somebody who is in the space of STEAM education, training children. It's how we're integrating cybersecurity within our school systems. I feel this is something that should be part of our curriculum. We need to teach them and teach them fast and teach them early. So the policymakers, we need to call them out as I urge each one of us. I mean, we're educators, whichever space we find ourselves in. We are mentors, we are business people. So be it in our organizations, the children we're relating with, the children in our homes. This thing could be more scary than AI. Could be more scary than AI. So actually my two questions was to address that my appeal, we need to have much more awareness created, and especially for children, we need to write more books, we need to do more podcasting, we need to get word out there, we need to educate our educators and children as well. And then I would love to know, and actually this got a bit sensitive when is Izo still here, when Izo mentioned how do I get my, I mean, how can somebody get their name out of Google? And I'm thinking this sounds like a double-edged sword. On one thing, yes, people could be malicious and put your name there for any reason. But on the other hand, is as recruiters or as business people, that's how we do our due diligence. For me, before I get to work with anyone or hire anyone or partner with anyone, I search you on Google. And I might take what I get with a pinch of salt, but it might give me an idea who I'm dealing with, right? I think it's one of our best platforms where I'll see what do you say on Facebook, what do you say on your IG, what exactly do you talk about on your LinkedIn, who are you on your TikTok? As they say, your brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room. So straight up, that will give me a heads up. Who am I dealing with? So the other question or concern I had was with the disruptive AI, are we getting into a rabbit hole or this is going to get better? Because I can only imagine there's just so much going on. There's so much going on. So I don't know if AI is getting us under the bus or we're able to leverage on it and sort out more of cybersecurity issues. I'm not sure if you have time to answer my questions. If you do, I'll appreciate. If you don't, you can put them on the comment section because I'd love to give others a chance. Let me just use this moment because I may not get the mic again. I love hogging it when I get a chance to say my truly heartfelt appreciation for your presentation. You're doing an amazing job out there, and I'd love to get to know more about your work. I'm just going to hog the courses you have because I need them. I work with a lot of children across the continent. So I think this is something our youth, especially in Africa, would appreciate. And a big shout out to the listeners. Very nice to see you, and I appreciate your patience as we keep celebrating our 50th podcast. Thanks to you all. Back to you. Was it Miss Paula, Dr. Russ, or Dr. Gladys?
Yeah, Miss Kim, sorry if you don't mind me. Let me just quickly say something in 30 seconds, if possible. Yes, thank you very much for your thoughts. I don't know, are you a soothsayer? Because my next book will be on children, and we really need to do that. Most especially coming from my own part of the world. Yes, these children are getting more and more vulnerable. They need to know from, childhood. And yes, we cannot overemphasize it. And for you guys that don't know, October is Cybersecurity Awareness Month. Please join us. Join us when you see our content. Repost, because we are going to sensitize the world about what to do. We are going to talk about babies, about women, about adults, about men, about women, the entire month of October. So please, one thing you can do for us in the industry, even if you don't know exactly what we are doing, when you come across our content, please, on all social media platforms, please try and reshare. Send it to somebody, send it to a mother, send it to a father. And with that, we will be trying so that before the lawmakers will do what they are supposed to do, that they are not yet doing, we will, be assisting our communities. But watch out for me. Next year, that's going to be my next project, Books for Kiddies on cybersecurity. And for AI has come to say we should just accept that, and we should see the side of AI that is helping. At the moment in the industry, AI is helping us a lot because there are so many of these things we get automated, and it makes our work very fast, and it gives it real-time effect. So for us in the industry, we are accepting it. All we just need to do is to do more training, because these tools are there and we push it out to users without training them appropriately on how to use it. I think that's where we have the gaps. And I'm sure by God's grace, with time, we will fill that space. When everybody knows what to do, before we used to have typewriters, now we have computers. Who want to use a typewriter again? But when it was coming, we're like, no, it's going to take our jobs. AI is not taking our jobs. It's assisting us. But we must live up to that expectation. We must be abreast of what is required. Thank you.
I want to just add something about with children and cybersecurity. I believe the first time that a child connects to the internet, you need to start educating them about security and making them security aware. Between the ages of 13 and 18, approximately 90% of those children, teens, own a smartphone. So we do need to start educating them younger, the first time they connect to the internet. And nowadays, and after COVID, most of our children that are in school are using the technology. So for that reason, yes, we need to start educating them about cybersecurity earlier. Another reason why we need to start educating them early, because when we look at those numbers of 5, 6, 7% of Blacks and Hispanics represented in cybersecurity, is because we have not educated our Black and brown children about these jobs that they can make 6 figures. Mm-hmm. So that is the second reason. So right on point, we got to go younger. In the other area of AI, I think AI really is about, it's a session in itself. And Ola talked about some of the opportunities, but whenever there's a new technology, there's some benefits and opportunities, but there's also some challenges and threats and risks with the bad guys out there, right? Some of the 3 top things that we're seeing is misinformation and disinformation. It is the most severe short-term risk that the world faces today, right? How do you know when you go on the internet what's true and what's not? And AI is amplifying manipulated and distorted information that could destabilize societies. Deep fakes. How do we get around this deep fake thing? When I'm here seeing someone talking, is that really them? There is deep fake technology to detect when something's not real, that it's false. But with AI, it's getting more sophisticated and more troubling for these AI security solutions to detect whether it's deep fake. So with AI, where is it? It's evolving. And I think Ola said, because we don't know where it's going, there's still not a lot of regulation governing how AI is used. So it's a great place to be in. because we're all learning.
Yes, and on that note, we're at the 2 hour mark, and I think this is calling for a follow up discussion, including the workshop. I would love to do a joint combined workshop, get the crew back together. This has been an awesome time. I'm sure we're going to get feedback from the audience and everything, but there's so much to unpack here. Unfortunately, we are out of time, and so we'll have to wrap this up. But I really appreciate it, and thank you all for your expertise today.
And thank you so much for having me.
Yes, it's a pleasure being here. Thank you.
All right, so Miss Kim, would you like to wrap up the show? Um,
With pleasure. It's always the hard part, right? To just say goodbye to an awesome team, awesome speakers and listeners. This has been super amazing. My very last comment is please don't leave the room before you connect to the person next to you. And in case there's a product you're promoting, you're looking for a job, you'd like to be featured on our podcast, DM. You can DM, for awesome speakers as you see them. There's Dr. Gladys, there's Dr. Russ, there's Mr. Selassie, Miss Paula, or myself. We'll be happy to connect, engage, and help you maybe promote your product, engage, have that conversation, and feature you and also your brilliant ideas or your brilliant topics that you'd like to showcase. We look forward to another super, maybe much more elaborate conversation, maybe a workshop, Dr. Cooper and Police Ola, Officer Ola, that's what we should call you, right? Where then we can be more engaging and get to. So this was a little bit of a master class. Now we want a full master class because there's a lot, and just like Ola, you pretty well put it. It's a very dynamic space. It's something that we have to learn every day. When I look at how fast tech space is moving, I can only imagine with cybersecurity. And one last tip, actually, which I almost made this mistake, and it's something that I like for warning people. I don't know if anybody has been a victim of that, where do not use ports at the airport or public spaces. I think that is one target for attackers. The minute you put your port there, they get right after you do it. I'm not sure how it's done technically, but they're able to wipe clean your information from your laptop, from your cell phone, and your data is gone. So I know all these stories might sound scary, but I think the most important thing is let's be vigilant. This is real. This is happening. And I think with AI, the first hit was the company in Hong Kong. Millions went just like that. So of course, we are smart and we'll come up with solutions. But while at it, let's not fall victims. So have yourselves a super Sunday and have yourselves a pleasant week. See you next Sunday, same time, same place. Thank you and goodbye.